be a great wrestling podcast, and you can believe in that.
I knew he was going to do it. I knew.
This is OT3.
Prepare for launch. 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Halloween special of OT3. I'm Anthony. Of course, I got my awesome co-host and producer, which, as you can see right there, came in, did a great job there for the start right there. Paul, how you doing tonight?
Woo-hoo, doing well. I'm glad it went off.
Excellent. Yes, we are too. And to my co-host here as well, Matt. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, yo. You know who we are. But what you don't know is what we're here for. Other wrestling podcasts, you want a war? You got a war.
And you know something, Paulie M? This right here is a new world order of professional wrestling podcast. And
like
tonight, we started.
Nice. Good intro,
So guys, we want to do something a little different tonight, and we felt that, with the Halloween theme, why not talk about the greatest faction, the NWO.
Because we're just too
sweet. I'm sure a lot of people are looking at us right now like, what are these guys doing? But we felt it was a nice homage to, a huge thing of the 90s for us, especially with, as we've been talking about Goldberg returning these past, these past 3 weeks. The NWO was a huge part of the Monday Night Wars, and we were really, when we saw the Halloween was falling on one of our shows, we were like, we have to take a chance here and we have to make it happen. So I'm glad that we were able to get this together. But
And don't worry, because your screens aren't faulty. It is in black and white today.
Yes,
There's
that's
no
right. Don't
color
adjust your
going
screens.
Nothing's wrong.
So with that, let's get right into it, Matt. Let's talk about Hell in a Cell. What was your biggest takeaway from Hell in a Cell before we go match by match?
Women can main event. Women can do a cell match and they can main event. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest takeaway. Other biggest takeaway is what we talked about beforehand was why can't we get a world title with a clean finish? Like just once. That's all I want. Well, I can't remember the last time we had a clean finish for a world title at all.
Yeah, no, I can't. I couldn't even tell you, especially with I really don't know what they're doing with that match, but I agree with you. Let's start with the main event for a change. The women main evented Hell in a Cell. Not only did they main event the pay-per-view, but they also main evented inside a Hell in a Cell. What did you think of the match overall?
I thought it was
Best
great.
Match of the night?
Match of the night. I had low expectations going in, but right off the bat, you power bomb Sasha right through the table, the announce table, which was like, whoa, that didn't see that coming. And then you're like, oh crap, they're not going to have this match. They're going to end it because the time frame went over 11 o'clock when that happened. You're like, okay, this is probably how they're going to end the pay-per-view. Bummer. We're all going to be upset. But then, they put on a hell of a match. Charlotte, throwing Sasha in the air, and she catches herself on the cage and springboards back to them using the table at the end.
Did you say someone who threw body slammed the girl, the woman? Was it
on the outside before they got in the ring? They went around the back and she powerbombed her through an announce tamer, not off the top of the cell, on the outside down below
The side of the cell, yeah.
Oh, but it wasn't okay. I thought you were saying it was
something like that vicious.
I thought you were saying it was one of the male wrestlers who threw her.
No.
Oh no. Okay. Maybe in the 90s that might have happened during the Attitude Era, but not anymore.
Gotcha. All right, sorry, Matt. Good.
So yeah, that's pretty much it was better than what I thought it was going to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I was again, I like every match I don't think a lot of them expanded their use of the cell itself. But that match to me was still the best of the 3 cell matches, and I wish they would have used the cell more, in these matches. A lot of them used, tables inside the cell. They used other weapons inside the cell, but they didn't use the cell itself, or even other than, like you said, with Sasha and Charlotte getting on the outside of them, before the match started. No one really went to the outside of the cell, and went to the top or even climbed off the side. So I would have liked to seen a little more use out of it, but I think that Charlotte and Sasha definitely proved why the women should be in the main event like they were. And to me, yeah, it was the match of the night. Now the finish, a lot of people have an issue with that Sasha lost again, but that keeps Charlotte undefeated at pay-per-view. So I think that's something that's not being seen here in the grand scheme of things. A lot of people are saying they're playing hot potato with the title, but now it almost seems inevitable, as you saw in the Raw talk or whatever they're calling it now, since they're just trying to copy Talking Smack on SmackDown, that Bayley basically is going to be the next opponent for Charlotte, and they're going to move on from Sasha Banks. So what was your takeaway from the finish per se? Were you upset with it? Are you happy that this is the end of the feud for now between the two of them altogether, or did you think Sasha should have kept the title?
I was hoping Sasha would keep the title. Like I said, I'm tired of this hot potato going back and forth. But like you brought up a good point. Charlotte's undefeated streak at a pay-per-view still is still going on. And I would like to see Sasha get in a feud with maybe like Nia Jax. Nia Jax really hasn't had a strong opponent yet, to be honest with you. And I think that'd be a great place for Sasha to move to. And Bayley, good for her to finally get into a title picture now.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, since we're talking about Bayley, really, the match was really nothing special. It's exactly what we wanted. Bayley beat Dana Brooke. I think pretty much everyone figured Bayley was going to win that match, especially how they had it on Raw, that Dana Brooke won their last match on Raw. So I'm glad to see they gave Bayley the victory. And like I said, it looks like it's inevitable that the two of them will now be in the next feud for the women's title between Bayley and Charlotte. Obviously, with Survivor Series being the next pay-per-view, a lot of these matches and feuds will probably be put on hold until after. But it'll be good to see a new person for the women's title on Raw instead of it being Charlotte and Sasha. Not to say those matches haven't been great. It's just these are going to be the future of this division. So you don't want to just see this match every time for the next year, and then 10 years from now you're still seeing it. So it's definitely something you want to see sporadically, and but it's definitely going to be, I think, the two of them is going to be the feud of the next decade, kind of how like Orton and Cena was for most of the 2000s. I can see Sasha and then Trish and Lita for the women's division most recently, the biggest feud. This could be the biggest feud that we see in the women's division for the next 10 years. So I'm just very excited, like I said, to see this next feud with Bayley. I think Bayley's going to add a nice another intrigue to that women's division on Raw. So what did you think? Did you really have anything else to add on the Bayley Dana Brooke thing?
I did not. It wasn't anything too special.
Yeah, Bayley wins.
Like,
That's basically what everyone expected.
I'll be honest. We talked about it last night. After the way the Universal title ended the match, I really got tuned off in Hell in a Cell. I'll be straight up honest with you. I went back and rewatched it today when I had some time, where I could skim through some stuff. But I was really turned off on the second half of that show, except for the women's title match, of course. Other than that, I was tuned off. And I mean, we might as well. I guess we should go into Universal title picture to see why I was tuned
let's
off.
Talk about it. Yeah.
The ending sucked. I was hoping. Obviously, we knew Jericho was going to get involved somehow. I was hoping for a face turn for Jericho or something like that. It didn't happen. But I'm tired of these finishes, man. Like, Rollins has not lost clean to Owens, which is almost, it's almost like Rollins should still get another title shot, it almost seems like, because he really hasn't lost clean. I mean, that was a handicap match, 2-on-1.
Yeah, and it's a slap in the face to Owens because why can't they just let him win a match clean? I mean, Jericho, I didn't get an exact time, but he was in there for about 10 minutes, I felt like, in that cell before the match ended. And then no one comes down, which I get, no one's going to help Rollins, but I just don't understand what the purpose was. They should have just put Jericho in the match from the beginning and made it a triple threat. At least then it could have been like added intrigue to it because Jericho could have possibly gotten the pin to win it, and then he let Owens cover him since he's his best friend, something like that. But I just don't understand why they had Owens, look like that again, but they have Jericho just basically defending him, And I want to speak about one of the spots there. That table spot when he did the power bomb was awesome. Out to the outside from inside the ring.
Though, that's for sure.
Yeah, he almost dropped him, but luckily he got him up. But that was an awesome spot. And again, like you said already, but the table spot with Sasha and Charlotte was another great spot on the outside. But definitely some good spots in those two matches. But I just wanted to see Owens win this one on his own. I knew Jericho would get involved, but I didn't expect it would be to the length of him being in there for 10 minutes, and staying in the match. But, I don't know how these storylines are going to progress either, on Raw tonight, because, we're already tomorrow's the 1st of November already, so, 3 weeks later, 3 or 4 weeks from now, we'll be at Survivor Series, so they're already going to start having to build towards that now. But, yeah. Do you see Rollins getting a rematch on Raw maybe in the next couple weeks before Survivor Series?
I think maybe on Raw, yes, but if we're talking about net storylines, we might as well go on to the guy who during Raw talk already put into people's minds that he's getting the next title shot, which is Roman Reigns. So I think it's a good way to segue right over to his match.
Yeah.
In which he retained against Rusev, which, I'm a big Roman Reigns fan. Hated the ending. How are you going to have him get choked out with a chain and still manage to get, it's
On top of the steel
yeah.
steps. Yeah, and then he picks him up and Samoan drops him on it and then spears him. Listen, we knew Roman was going to win, but you didn't have to have Rusev. That's what I'm saying. Rusev went to it was almost like he was going to any length he could, and he still can't beat Reigns. So I just don't understand after all the build-up they did for Rusev why they made him look so weak in this whole feud for the last couple months. But I'm glad that they're finally going to be done with this feud and Rusev can move on to something else and same for Roman, because I think this was done a lot for Roman but didn't do much for Rusev, and I think that Rusev could be a big star in WWE in general, especially on Raw, and I feel like they just didn't portray that to the WWE universe in this feud. So, moving forward, we'll see what both of them are destined for. But like you said, he did call him out on Raw Talk, so maybe this will be the next. We're going to see the United States Champion and the Universal Champion go head-to-head for the titles. And that'll be interesting to see as well. So, I can't wait to see that. But let's talk about now the tag team division. First, you had the match that, we both agreed that they both needed the win. One way or the other, they needed the win. I said the club needed it more. You said Enzo and Cass needed it more. The club ended up getting the win after the last couple pay-per-views, having their feud with New Day they had that, like we said, they had disqualification. They really didn't have that clean finish to lose the match, and at least they got this win now on pay-per-view, and they get a little bit of, steam back in that, and hopefully this will move them forward again to hopefully a tag team title reign in the near future, because I really think that they need it. But what do you think this does to Enzo and Cass, since you thought Enzo and Cass needed this match more?
It may have put them down a little bit more on the, totem pole of the tag team division. It's really disappointing. I was really hoping they were going to pull this one out, but maybe they're saving them for a WrestleMania run like we've heard in the past. But it does good for the club. But in terms of the tag team titles, another stupid win. When are they going to win clean?
Yeah.
Like, really? The New Day, I'm done with them. I'm so sick of them now. They're not even winning. When was the last time they won a clean match?
Yeah, no. They might have pinned someone, but I don't remember the last time where it was they actually did something in the ring to get it. Someone got involved on the outside somehow. And I just don't understand. And this is what I'm saying. And now they're gonna break the record now. I told you that was gonna happen from the beginning once they beat Gallows and Anderson multiple times. They're at 434, I think, as of today.
Okay.
So what is it, 490 something or something like that? Is it 490 something?
Something like that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So if they get through the end of this month, they'll be over 450.
What
Easy.
days? What days with the title?
Days with the title. Yep.
Okay.
So they'll be over 450, probably over 460 by the end of the month. And then they just have till the next pay-per-view, I think, is like mid-December for them at Roadblock. So we'll see if they actually last to that point. But that'll be something to keep in mind as we get closer. But yeah, I don't like that they keep doing that, because, like you said, the New Day's been a dominant tag team for most of their run, and now it's like, and the same thing with Owens. They're just not letting these guys win their matches clean. At least, as much as I don't like the way Roman wins, at least they let him win the match clean. He doesn't have to use some kind of underhand tactic or use something like that. And I know he's a face, but I'm just tired of seeing these guys. These title matches are not ending clean. The women's match, another fantastic, example of letting Charlotte's the heel. She's not using anything underhand to win. That was a clean match. It was a great match, probably a 5-star match, and the match of the night. So I'm tired of seeing these matches end like that. There's no reason. You had these guys built up so well. Even like for Owens, for example, the guy beat John Cena in his debut, over a year ago. Had great match wins against all these other guys individual. Now all of a sudden he can't beat Rollins without the help of Jericho.
Or Triple H the first time.
I just don't get it.
Are they using that? Are they using like that record? Is that part of like the story? Are they like?
No, they're not actually. They haven't mentioned it at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at all.
Yeah, not yet. They might have mentioned it once, but not to the point where it's anything. They mentioned when they were at the year, but I haven't heard them mention it like regularly on TV in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess we'll go to the last title match of the evening, which was a cruiserweight title, which the Brian Kendrick won his title 8 years after winning his last one for 6 seconds or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then at Raw Talk, you have him and Booker T go at it, which I think. Then that looked very familiar to, I think, what was it, Miz and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Just copy SmackDown. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, take
Raw.
the show idea, and then I mean, yeah, it's not your general manager, but it's someone that's on the Raw, kickoff show. I just, I think
I'm
Raw's
happy for
trying.
Kendrick. That's really cool.
Yes, I am. I was very happy. I think it was good because we've talked, yeah. I just don't think Perkins is fit to be the face of the cruiserweight division. I think it was great he won the classic, but I don't think moving forward he should have been the face of the division. I don't think Kendrick necessarily is either. I think he's still there to be the veteran that's going to elevate the talent. But I think it's good they got it off of Perkins, they got it on Kendrick, and now Kendrick can feud with someone else and elevate them to the next level. So I'm excited to see where it goes. You got to think the next match though for the cruiserweight title is going to be Perkins gets his rematch tonight already. They said on Raw, but you got to think Rich Swann is right there in the mix because he did beat Kendrick right before the pay-per-view. And I actually want to talk about that, man. I don't know if this bothers you at all, but it's been happened on Raw and SmackDown. Why is it that they insist on when a person is already the number one contender, like the week before or the match before they have the title match, they have them lose to somebody else? It happened with Kendrick and Swan. They did it at the pay-per-view when Becky Lynch couldn't wrestle. They had Naomi beat Alexa Bliss. I mean, there's other times I could, but why do they do that when it's not the number one contender and the champion in a match?
I
They
don't
have someone
know.
else.
It's
just like
stupid.
it's just silly to me. I
Then
don't
they should
understand
be
why
number
they
one
do that.
Contender then after that.
Exactly. That why are they the number one contender? If they can just lose to them now, why are they still the contender?
I don't know.
And then Kendrick won, so he not only lost to Rich Swann, but then he ended up winning his title match. Just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. But overall, Hell in a Cell was a good pay-per-view, decent, better than their first attempt at the Raw exclusive.
Roman and Rusev, and then the women saved the pay-per-view. You
The
started.
ending of Roman
started
Rusev
strong.
was not good, but the match
The
overall
rest of the match was
was
great. So
good.
you started strong and you ended strong. The middle stuff, crap.
It wasn't all that, yeah. Kendrick and Perkins wasn't bad either, but definitely the main event was the best match of the night, and Rusev and Roman did have a good match until the ending to me, for them to start the night, and I definitely, like I said, I think it was better than Clash of Champions. So with that, we'll move off of Hell in a Cell, and briefly before we go into Raw and SmackDown for the night, I want to talk about something that happened at NXT over the past week. Austin Aries was injured at a live event after taking a kick to the head from Shinsuke Nakamura, and he actually, now it's being reported that he suffered a large orbital fracture in his eye, and he's going to be out till 2017. If you aren't keeping up with the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, Aries was teamed up with Roderick Strong. A lot of these matches have been taking place at live events. Instead, since he wasn't able to compete, they had to do a one-on-one match, and Roderick Strong lost to TM61, which eliminated Aries and Strong, which was my pick for the overall thing. Obviously, now it makes more sense of why they eliminated them, because I thought maybe he'd be back in a couple weeks, but it's now saying he'll be out till early 2017. And the finals have already been announced, which took place at a non-televised event, which to me was kind of underwhelming to see that they didn't let it happen, because last year, Matt, I don't know if you remember, but when they did the Dusty Rhodes Classic, they had the semifinals matches and the finals match at the Takeover.
Yeah.
And there were some great matches. I mean, they had the final match was Corbin and Rhino versus Joe and Finn. So and then they had the matches before that too, which were great as well. And I just don't understand why they did that. And the final two teams now are neither of the teams that we picked to win. It was someone you mentioned in your conversation of who you think might be, win, but TM61 and the Authors of Pain. So not only did they eliminate Gargano and Ciampa right before the finals, we're not going to see that match either at TakeOver, but they also eliminated your pick, Sanity.
And the Revival.
Yeah, and the Revival got eliminated by Gargano and Ciampa the round before, but they eliminated two of the teams that we were picking at least to be, in the semifinals to the finals that we thought we would see at TakeOver. So now with that, we have this final of TM61 and the Authors of Pain, and we'll talk about that more when we get to Survivor Series, but I just wanted to touch on that because that's a huge loss in the NXT roster to not have Aries now till early 2017.
Yep. Just means someone else got to step up.
Yep, someone's got. And do you think Roderick Strong's the guy to step in his place?
Why not?
Yeah,
Maybe
I'd say so.
maybe a Prince will be coming over. Some
Oh,
Prince
okay.
guy.
That would be awesome. I know he's been top Prince Puma or Ricochet. I know he's been talking about it. That would be awesome to see him in NXT soon. But we'll just have to, stay up to date with that. Like I said, we just wanted to give a quick update. No, that's not might be a spoiler alert to you, but unfortunately that happened over the weekend with the injury to Aries, and now the finals are set for that took place at the live event for the Dusty Rhodes Classic take
Yep.
place at Takeover Toronto. So something to think about who you think is going to be the new favorite to win that match out of the two of them. But we'll shift gears now from NXT right back to let's talk about Raw tonight. Last week, unfortunately, Goldberg was not there like we thought he might show up, but he is going to be there tonight. So again, we're going to get this again where one person shows up one week, the next person shows up the next week, the next person shows up the week after. Then Heyman will probably come out next week. Brock won't even be there, and then the pay-per-view before Survivor Series, they'll both finally be there.
Yep.
Uh,
I don't know what you want me to say to that.
yeah, I just don't even know. I don't understand what
I want
their
to see
idea
Spear
is.
before Survivor Series.
Yeah, and it's going to probably happen the night before,
Yeah.
Monday night before. But what is with the build-up of these big matches? If you're going to do two part-timers, you can't have them not show up until the week before. I understand they're going to have, at least they're having one of them, but you want both of them in the ring. Even if they don't have to have a physical confrontation. They could just, the two of them could just get in each other's face. They break it up and they walk to the back. But you have to have it to where it's like, all right, I'm even more excited about this match. I don't know if you read this, but a little cool thing I saw, Goldberg was interviewed, and I guess they asked him, is this a one-off, match for you?
Mhm.
And he said that's what the contract is, but he's open to maybe having another another match if it fits.
I think if he does good and he feels like his body can handle it, I
Yeah.
think he will. Especially going against Lesnar, that's how you see how your body will match up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's basically what he said. He said, let me see how my body holds up, and then we'll go from there. If I feel like I can have another match, then definitely we'll talk about it. But if I feel like that should have been the only match, then he moves on. So I'm excited to see how that plays out as well. But other Raw, we talked, like I said, the rematch takes place tonight for the Cruiserweight title. Do you see Kendrick winning? Do you think they're going to have Perkins take it right back? What do you think's going on tonight?
I see Kendrick winning. I think Perkins is going to move on to something else for right now. I just think Perkins, like you said, his character's not going over well. The whole dab thing is not really working out, with fans and everything. So I think they move Perkins back just to try to see what they can do with him. And I think we see Kendrick move on.
I think Kendrick's going to move on as well, and I think I think that's one of the few titles that will be defended at. Oh man, why am I losing my train of Survivor Series? That's one of the few titles I think that will actually take place because it looks like they're going to build it to where the world champions are both on Team Raw and Team SmackDown, and obviously the tag team champions will be on Team Raw and Team SmackDown because, as we know on the SmackDown side, Rhino and Slater were automatically granted a berth onto Team SmackDown, and the Hype Bros won this past week to be the second team announced. So. Is that something we see tonight on Raw? Do we finally start seeing some qualifying matches for Team
Because
Raw?
they really couldn't do anything because of the Hell in the Cell. So I think we'll finally start seeing some teams for Raw. Finally, maybe even individuals.
Yeah.
Jericho and Kevin Owens hinted, and Jericho was supposed to be gone. I thought after Hell in the Cell, but looks like
Yeah,
he
he's
may be
still
staying
around.
around to Survivor Series. So who knows?
Yeah, and he said he wants to be the co-captain of the team with Owens, so we'll
With his
see how
best
that pans
friend.
out.
His
With
best
his best friend. That's right, with his best friend. I do remember that. I apologize. So with that being said, you think all three matches get part of the people get determined, or you think they're just going to focus on one match tonight?
I think they may focus on a couple matches. I think they may focus on a tag team and seeing who will be the captain.
Do you think Raw follows suit though and puts automatically their tag team champions in it? Do you think the New Day will be put in a match?
Yeah, of course. Why not? I mean, they're going to be like, oh, look, SmackDown did this. Let's just do what Raw always been doing for the past couple of weeks, and let's just copy them. And I think we're going to start seeing this week who the captains are.
Yeah, I think Raw is going to get ahead of SmackDown here and pick Charlotte on the Raw team and be like, hey, our women's champion will be our captain of our team since we know Nikki's on Team SmackDown. But you almost got to think Becky Lynch is going to be on that team because, like you said, Natalya cannot be on the team since she lost her match. So that really leaves the SmackDown, women's roster kind of thin because they only had, 6 or 7 girls already on the roster. So now, by taking Natalya out of the equation, you got to think that Becky Lynch will be named to be on the team. So I'm wondering to see how they're going to do that, or maybe Raw surprises us and puts Kendrick on the team, but I don't think they will. But that would be a nice touch to put one of the cruiserweights on the Raw roster team, and just to continue to show why Raw has that exclusive thing for the cruiserweights. But I'm really not too sure how they're going to pan it out on either side. I know we talked about it. I think you think Roman's going to be the captain. I think Rollins going to be the captain. I think either way, both of those guys will be on Team Raw. Now it almost seems that Owens and Jericho will both be on Team Raw, and that only leaves one spot left on Raw. On the SmackDown side, obviously now they're saying Randy Orton is not going to be available for Survivor Series since he'll have his baby being due right around that time. So he'll be, out of action for that week. So he won't be at Survivor Series. And there's still that uncertainty on if John Cena will actually be at Survivor Series because he's filming the show. I know they said that there's plans for him to be back, but that opens the door for SmackDown a lot too for some of these younger guys, because you got to think that someone like Baron Corbin is almost going to guarantee himself a spot on Team SmackDown, and that'd be a big stage for him to shine on, to be on Team SmackDown, in a spot where two of your biggest draft picks aren't even going to be there to be available if it ends up being that Orton and Cena can't go.
Totally agree with that, which I don't mind. I want to see Corbin get some more action. I think it'd be great for him. Maybe Apollo Crews. I think there's another chance for Raw to get Sami Zayn involved or something like that, but it seems like he's on a collision course with Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
And speaking of Zayn real quick, just before we, head off and do what we're going to do, what do you think about the Lesnar-Zayn match they pretty much announced for?
I cannot believe.
I feel bad for Sami.
It reminds me a lot. It reminds me a lot of what they did with when they did the Beast in the East in Japan last year.
Oh, with Kofi.
Yeah, a couple years ago. I'm sorry, it was like 2-3 years ago. But
So
yeah, they had
dumb.
Kofi. What was the point? It just don't. I'm glad it's not the Big Show though. I will say that. I'm glad it's not another Big Show versus Lesnar live match. So, I don't know what they're trying to do with Sami Zayn. Like I said from the beginning, I just don't think that him versus Strowman. They're just trying to make Strowman continue to grow up, and look even stronger than he already is. So I get why they're putting someone that's credible, but it just hurts Zayn more than it does for Strowman to me.
Totally agree.
So we'll see how that how they continue to play that. But on the SmackDown side, do you think James Ellsworth? Do you think this thing's going to continue with him?
I'm sure he'll fight Dean Ambrose sooner or later.
You think so?
Because
You
of
think
what
him and
happened.
Ambrose are due for a match?
Yep. Good for him.
Okay.
Good for James Ellsworth. I don't mind. I think it's a great storyline. Shows about the underdog. Obviously, he'll never win a championship or anything like that, but it's something cool, something different, something better than Raw. So I hope they keep going with that. Hopefully, they'll name their captains this week, like we said, with maybe Raw doing theirs. But I think SmackDown, they're doing pretty good for themselves. They don't need to change who they are. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Right back to Raw real quick. We touched on it. What do you think Goldberg's message tonight is going to be?
I think he'll respond back to him. Obviously, maybe he made mentions, the booze that he got while in Minneapolis. I think they'll just be able to respond back. I think they'll just go back and forth, whatnot on the mic, with Heyman going back on his end and then Goldberg responding. So I think it'll be something along those lines.
Okay, fair enough. Survivor Series, what matches do you see taking place, maybe prediction-wise, that aren't going to be one of the... do you think... What titles? Do you think any titles are going to be defended? Do you think the Cruiserweight will be defended?
Yes, because they can't do a traditional match. And I think the both world titles will be defended.
So you don't think Owens or Styles will be on
'cause
Team
if
Raw,
you
Team
can't-
SmackDown?
No, I don't think so. I think both
Okay.
titles will be defended.
That's fair. I disagree with you there. I think they're going to end up putting AJ and since basically you have your main event already in Goldberg and Lesnar. I think that's going to be able to kind of lean off of the World Championships being defended. But as far as that, I think the only title we might see take place match is the Cruiserweights. And like I said, my prediction is that Kendrick will face Rich Swann, since Rich Swann was the last one to beat him on Raw this past week.
Good.
So
Local boy, Baltimore.
yeah, that's right.
There he goes. Let him win it.
So I kind of think that we really covered everything.
That's our good.
We didn't really have too much, we as opposed to last week where we went over a Hell in a Cell preview and then had the dust. This week we're just kind of recapping
It's
it.
a Halloween special. Let the
Yeah, it's a
people
Halloween
go out,
special. Yeah,
have
get
some
out there and start
parties,
trick
go
or
eat some
treating. Yeah.
candy.
It was a good one.
Go drink some Oktoberfest.
Quick one. Yeah, it was good. You tried
Go drink
that.
some
You tried a
Oktoberfest.
pumpkin one. The when was it?
It was good. Yeah.
Yesterday?
Green Turtle, the pumpkin ale.
Oh, it's a flying dog pumpkin ale. No, not flying dog.
It was
Dogfish
Flying
head. Dogfish head, right?
Dogfish, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Paul, we're gonna hand it over to you. I know that was a quicker episode, but like I said, this was just our Halloween special, just to kind of pay homage to our favorite faction, NWO, and we're going to hand it back over to you, Paul.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. You know the drill. If you are on social media, if you are alive in this year or in this time, you probably have a cell phone or computer. So go ahead. And if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you friend us or like us. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and give us a thumbs up. We'd greatly appreciate it. It helps out the show, helps spread the word, and that's what we want. So you can tweet us at OT3Podcast1. Send us emails to ot3podcast@gmail.com. And, Facebook is Facebook.com/Off the Top Turnbuckle. So that does it for me, guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
Real quick. D-Generation X, you ain't got nothing on us. We're the dominant faction in professional wrestling.
That's right. One other thing we'll talk about. Next week we'll be back again with OT3, of course. Start time at 7. But tomorrow we will both be on, as well as Chris and Paul. We will be doing the Shipe Sports Talk Show tomorrow at 7, and we will be doing our NFL review of our beginning predictions. So we're just going to kind of, since it's almost about the half season mark, kind of where we all envision certain teams being and where they're not necessarily right now. And is there anything else we're going to be, touching on tomorrow besides that?
Touch on some Maryland because they have a big game against Michigan. So may talk about some local college football, and then maybe just a little brief touch on NHL and NBA, just seeing how the local teams are doing, and go from there. World Series, the game sits tomorrow.
How did I forget that? Yeah, geez, we got to talk about the World Series. Hopefully,
about that.
Yeah, we will definitely talk about that. Again, that's another series that I don't think any of us really expected to go the way it's going as of right this moment.
I picked the Cubs to sweep it. I'm done. I quit.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it tied at the moment?
3-2. 3-2. Indians.
Indians, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Good
so
Lord.
definitely not what a lot of us were expecting, but we'll definitely talk more on that tomorrow. Paul, I'm going to ask you. I ask you every week. I know it's on a hiatus still, right? For a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. We're continuing the hiatus. I'm gonna ask every week just to be safe. But
yeah, no, that's good. Soccer actually is ending, I think, next week, so we'll probably have some episodes following that. We'll see.
All right. So stay tuned for that. Update on Crazy Talk.
One more thing. I know this is more sports related, but you're looking at the new captain of my high school's Turkey Bowl team. I will be in charge of one of the teams for our flag football tournament, so that's going to be something kind of cool.
Oh, geez,
Nice.
Your team's going to lose.
I'll talk more about that tomorrow since it's more sports related.
I'm just kidding. I wish you best of luck with the team. And with that, I'm going to close it out, I think, for the night. I want to say happy Halloween to everybody. We hope you enjoyed this special, Halloween special. And again, if you're watching this and you're just tuning in, this was purposely done in black and white for the NWO. So there's nothing wrong with your computer or phone or whatever you're watching on. So we hope you enjoyed episode 26 of OT3. And we'll see everyone next week. Remember, it's OT3 for life. Have a good night, everybody.
Nice. See you, everyone.